Thursday when Bernie was giving his speech on democratic socialism. I did not have an opportunity to hear it. I've heard a few of the clips, but they seem to be completely absent from the media. I was searching media in Los Angeles, and I was searching the newspapers on Saturday on my way home, and Sunday popping around looking, and I thought at least it would make the Meet the Press, but instead, of course, it's Sunday, it's Meet the Republicans. So instead, we got John Kasich. I don't know. I'm astonished by it, but there was a lot of good content there, and Shane pulled a bunch of clips. He shared many of them with you on Thursday, but I'd like to go through some of them again, just and not like to promote Bernie Sanders' candidacy for president. I believe, and a couple of years ago, I would have said I thought I'm right. Now I know I'm right. I believe that elections are not won by trying to bring the center. They're not won by trying to persuade people who are persuadable. That's not how you win elections in the United States. You win elections in the United States by turning your people out. Period. And this is why Republicans have been successful in the last couple of decades in winning elections, in part because they turn their people out. The Republican candidates, by and large, that run for office are the Bernie Sanders of the right. They're people who have conviction, ideology, consistency. This is what we're all about. We're about protecting the billionaires. We're about protecting the corporate class. We believe that if we help the billionaires, the money will trickle down. It'll certainly trickle down into our campaign coffers. And eventually it'll reach the middle class, and, a rising tide lifts all boats. I mean, they've got their little ideology and their talking points, and they believe that stuff. And too much regulation, the Koch brothers shouldn't have to pay to clean up their oil refineries and their paper plants and all that kind of stuff. And we're going to talk about a little bit more about that in the second hour of our program today. But the Democratic Party, for some reason, since basically 1987, when Rush Limbaugh started his program and has been saying this regularly, the Democratic Party has been following Limbaugh's advice. And, keep in mind, that was right around the time the Democratic Leadership Council was created by Al Fromm and Bill Clinton. And the Democratic Party started following Rush Limbaugh's advice and taking positions and putting forward candidates who were, quote, middle of the road. Let's convince those unconvinced voters. Right? So instead of putting progressives, genuine Democrats, FDR Democrats, Harry Truman Democrats, Jack Kennedy Democrats, Lyndon Johnson Democrats, instead of Jimmy Carter Democrats, instead of putting real Democrats up for election, they put up people like Allison Lundgren Grimes, who runs an ad saying, I don't agree with President Obama. He's too liberal for me. And guess what? She loses. So it's about turning out your base. It's about talking to your people. And the corporate media does not want the mainstream of America to be talked to by politicians in a way that might diminish corporate profits or might diminish the wealth of the billionaires who basically own and run the mainstream media. You can call it a conspiracy theory if you want, but I got no better explanation for it. And having been in this media business for a lot of years, I've seen many examples of it. And so, the media blackout on Bernie, it's, and the media promotion of Hillary Clinton whenever she takes a, quote, moderate position. No, I'm not in favor of $15 minimum wage. $12 is enough, for example. And then there's a bunch of others, but I don't want to turn this into a bashing Hillary show. But Hillary Clinton is, a, quote, moderate Democrat. Bernie Sanders is a real Democrat. And it's not just the presidential race. I mean, it's all the way down. So anyhow, I wanted to play a couple of Bernie clips here. Clip number 2. This is one of the reasons why, presumably, why MSNBC, the so-called liberal channel, didn't play Bernie's speech in its entirety. I mean, they certainly would have if Marco Rubio was giving a policy. In fact, they did for Trump. They did for Rubio. They did for, they've played large, long chunks of many of the Republican speeches. But keep in mind who owns and runs the network, right? And why it's becoming more and more right-wing. I think, frankly, they're trying to Joe Scarboroughize the entire network. But anyhow, here's Bernie talking about how, they're going to use the word socialist like it's a nasty word, but come on, guys. They called FDR's policies socialist. Here's clip number 2.
And by the way, almost everything he proposed, almost every program, every idea he introduced was called socialist. I thought I would mention that just in passing.
And in fact, he went through some of the socialist policies that Americans love and have adopted. Do we have time for this clip? Minute 32? Let's go for it. Oh, we don't? Okay, we'll come back to that.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.